Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of our podcast called the Motorcycle Podcast. In this episode of our podcast, we talk about or we discuss two races from the MotoGP calendar, one in Germany in the Sachsenring circuit and the other one in the Dutch TT Assen circuit. So let's start the episode and discuss about these two races. Welcome back, guys, to this episode. Now, this will be a quick highlight episode of the two races that happened recently. So, let's start with the German GP, which happened in the Sachsenring circuit. So, as the German GP started, Johann Zarco was on pole position and was ready to conquer the German circuit. Fabio Quartararo started in second place and Aloysius in his Aprilia started in third. Namir was on sixth row as he was looking for a good race result in German GP, and before the race start, the weather conditions looked like it might rain as we saw a few raindrops on the lens and the circuit, but overall it was expected to be a dry race. When the race was about to start, the wind picked up, which made a lot of riders and team managers nervous and worried as they were confused about the rain setup. The most riders went for hard front and medium rear tire setup for the while, but weather conditions predicted rain in the middle of the race. Because of the rain, riders like Marquez and Miller, who were good in rainy conditions, were with a chance. Before the race started, there was a three-place grid penalty for Bastianini for cruising in yesterday's qualifying. Nakagami was the only rider who took a gamble with soft rear tire. With rain lurking, the GP started. Aloysius Espargaro took the first position. Marquez had a blistering start as well. He took the second position. Zarco slotted in third as Quartararo moved to fourth. Miller was fifth as Bender, who rode superbly in the start, came in seventh. Marquez had a fantastic start as he looked to overtake Aloysius and take the lead. Eventually, he was able to overtake Aloysius Espargaro as he took the lead. It looked like as the old Marc Marquez was back and the king of the Sachsenring showed tremendous potential in the beginning of the race. Meanwhile, as these riders were going great, Oli was seen struggling in the race as well as Petrucci, who was in 12th position. At the front, it was a fight between Aloysius Espargaro and Marc Marquez as Aloysius attacked Marquez and took his lead back. Marquez was not willing to let this one go as he fought back and took the lead back again from Aloysius Espargaro. Vinales, on the other hand, made a lot of mistakes as he was pushed behind the order at the start of the race. Mir in his Suzuki showed consistent pace as he was in 12th position. Now, after the 3 laps were completed, in the mid pack of riders, Iker Lecuona made moves to overtake Petrucci. Oli was riding well in 6th place, and Miller was riding decently in 4th place. Now, at the front, Aloysius again tried to attack Marquez, and Oli did the same to Quartararo in 5th place. As the race was going on, a crash was reported as Petrucci and Alex Marquez crashed into each other. Both riders seemed okay, but they were seen blaming each other on the side of the circuit. Alex Rins was doing a great job riding in 8th. As the race progressed, we saw all the manufacturers in the top 10 positions, which looked like a well-balanced race for all manufacturers. As the race went on, there was another crash which was reported. Lorenzo Salvadori crashed his bike. Jack Miller found some pace as he took the third position. Miller was on the charge. He went after the second position. Mir looked settled as he moved to ninth. Jorge Martin, on the other hand, seemed to be struggling in the race. Now, as the race went on to the halfway stage, there were rain spots seen on the lens, which made the authorities raise the white flag. Now, as the white flag was shown, Miller started to increase his pace as he was 1.2 seconds behind Marquez. Zarco, who had had a tremendous 2021, seemed uncomfortable on his bike. A few rain spots made his bike swerve around the track. Miguel Oliveira was riding a superb race as he took on Miller and captured the second place. Riders were at full speed now. They were trying to burn tires and go fast as they can before they can change to range setup. Now Miguel Oliveira was now flying in second. He and Marquez were the two fastest riders on track. They were clocking a time of 1.21 seconds per lap. Binder was riding well in seventh. We saw Vinales and Morbidelli continuously struggling throughout the race. Sector 1 and 2 looked strong for Marquez. Miguel Oliveira looked strong in Sector 3 and 4. Quartararo took on Espargaro as Binder overtook Zarco. The Frenchman looked in trouble as he lost complete grip of his bike and he was struggling to hold on to his bike. Miguel Oliveira, on the other hand, looked fast as he followed Marquez. The gap between him and Marquez was around 1.6 seconds. Quartararo then showed excellent pace as he took the third position. Miller, on the other hand, was right behind Quartararo as he went to fourth position. Miguel Oliveira and Marc Marquez were fighting a battle on their own at the front. Miguel showed amazing pace as the gap went down to 1.4 seconds. As the last 10 laps approached, there was a fight for the third place where many riders were in contention, although Quartararo seemed a bit ahead of the pack. The rider pack started from Quartararo and went all the way behind till Mir. All these riders had a chance to get the third podium place. Pecco showed fantastic race pace as he joined this pack and looked to take the final podium position. At the front, Marquez and Miguel were going on smoothly as Miguel closed the gap down to 1.1 second. Quartararo then moved ahead of that group in third position. Pecco came charging into the pack as he was seventh and moving ahead with great intent. The guy was in 18th qualifying spot but was able to show excellent pace to reach the 7th position. Marquez and Miguel were fighting at the front as Miguel closed down the gap to 9/10 of a second. Miguel and Marquez both were gunning for victory, with Marquez looking for his first win since July 2020. Binder was riding well in fourth as it was an outstanding race for the American. Binder took the fourth spot from Miller as he was riding a tremendous race. As we approached the final laps, Marquez maintained his lead and took the victory. It was a fairy tale victory for the king of the ring of the Sachsenring. It was his 10th victory on this famous German circuit. Overall, it was his 83rd GP career victory and a 57th MotoGP victory. This victory was really special for Marc Marquez as he broke down in tears. It took 571 days of him coming back from injury and taking this victory. With this, he was declared the undisputed king of the Sachsenring circuit. Ollie rode a fantastic race, gave it all, but in the end, the distance was quite large for him to catch up. But he still came a valiant second and he was happy with his second place. Quartararo had a fantastic race as he finished in third position. In a traditionally strong Honda track, he was happy to get the third position as he kept increasing his lead in Riders' Championship. With this, the German GP got over. It was a great comeback for the man who had tremendous injury issues and who had a struggling year injury wise in 2020 and it was a fantastic morale boosting win for the 5 time World MotoGP champion. Now, with this, we end our coverage and highlights of the German GP, and let's move on to the Assen TT Dutch GP. Dutch TT looked to be an intense 26 laps race in the famous Assen circuit. Now, Vinales was seen on pole as rumors had circulated a day before that he might leave Yamaha after the season, breaking his 2 year contract to join Aprilia. All the riders were aware of this news, and this was the news of the day during the Assen TT race. Quartararo was there in second place as Bagnaia qualified in third place. Nakagami was in fantastic form as he qualified in fourth place. Marquez had a bad start as he qualified in 20th position. It was the worst start for the 5 time MotoGP champion as he had a FP2 crash yesterday. It was the last race before the 5 week summer break as riders looked to finish the first half of the season strongly. It was the fourth race in 5 weeks. It was an intense month of racing in the MotoGP calendar. Pecco slotted between the riders. Miguel was there in sixth place. Rins was in seventh place, and Joan Zarco was seen qualifying in fifth place. Now, tire choice of the riders seemed to be medium soft front rear, with some riders opting to go for the softer compound. A lot of riders were happy with the new surface in Assen as the race started. It was a fantastic start for Vinales, but Quartararo in the end took the lead. Bagnaia then took the second place, and Joan Mir had a brilliant start. Now, Marc Marquez also started well from the 20th place as he jumped 7 places to 13th in no time. Nakagami was there in the front with Quartararo as they battled for the top spot. Quartararo ran his bike wide as Bagnaia took the lead. Quartararo then challenged his lead immediately as he went in the front again. At the back, Rossi had a worst start possible as he went back to 21st place. Miller was riding a decent race as he was slotted in 7th. Miguel was also having a poor race as he slotted in ninth place during the start. Now, suddenly, when we saw the riders, there was Rins who was missing from the bunch. But there was an issue with Rins as he was pushed back some positions in the race. As the race progressed, fastest lap of the race was posted by Quartararo in no time. Quartararo then took the lead of the race as he looked to increase his lead in the championship. Bagnaia then was initially hesitant to let go of the champion as he fought back to take the lead. Mir was showing great form in the beginning of the race as he went past Miller in a fantastic overtaking maneuver. Vinales tries to overtake Zarco, but he was unsuccessful in doing so. Quartararo was in brilliant form as he took the lead back from Bagnaia. Using defensive lines, Marquez rode a brilliant race as he went up to 10th position in no time. Then he got bunched up with a lot of riders at the gap of 2.3 seconds. Quartaro was having a tremendous race as he fought at the front with Bagnaia, was exchanging positions with Bagnaia as he showed excellent pace during the race. Joan Mir and Joan Zarco was seen fighting at the back end of the front group. We saw Joan Mir and Joan Zarco fight at the back end of the front group. The gap between Quartararo, Bagnaia, and other riders started to increase. At the back, Gerloff and Marini were fighting to keep their positions alive. As the race went on, there was a crash reported as Rossi had a high speed corner crash which absolutely destroyed his bike. After the crash, he looked jolted and was seen sitting sitting on the gravel. Now Pecco had a fight on his hand as Nakagami Vinales Zarco was right behind him. Pecco then got a track limit penalty. Nakagami took over the second place. Bagnaia then came back in the race with a lot of consistent laps. Vinales and Mir also had great rhythm and pace as they started to push ahead for the podium positions. But there was a problem with their standing as they were not able to push ahead of the rivals. Nakagami then went ahead and took the second place. Vinales looked to move ahead of Bagnaia, but Bagnaia was not letting him do so. Bagnaia, as he was fighting with Vinales to keep his place, Bagnaia got a long lap penalty for not following the previous track limit penalty. Now, after he took his penalty, Vinales went ahead, but he then got a track limit penalty. As this tussle was going on in the front, there was a crash which was reported. Miller, who until now had an excellent 2021, crashed in the race, but somehow he managed to rejoin the race. Jorge Martin then had some problem with his bike as he was seen entering the pits. Miguel Oliveira then started to go move ahead as he overtook Nakagami and moved ahead in the front. Nakagami then was pinned back of the first initial rider bunch as there seemed to be an issue with Nakagami's LCR Honda. Nakagami started to lose grip as he slipped to ninth position in the race. Everything started to go wrong for Bagnaia and Nakagami as they both started to lose grip and places. Vinales then took over the second place as Zarco took over the third place. Now the gap between the top riders started to close as Vinales showed good pace in second position. Mir also showed excellent pace as he overtook Zarco to claim the third position. Miller was eventually shown the black flag as he had to go back to pits because of his bike. As we were overlooking that incident, there was another crash reported in the race. Iker Lucunia crashed right in the middle of the circuit as his race came to an end. Alex Rins was riding well in the 11th, considering the weekend he had. Quartararo was in the front, showed excellent pace as he moved ahead in the race. Initially, Vinales was able to match and challenge him with consistent laps or lap times, but eventually Quartararo responded well as he upped his pace to win the race. Although Vinales was great on Friday and Saturday, but when it came to Sunday or when it came to the main race, Quartararo stepped up and took home the first position. It was a 1-2 for the Monster Energy Yamaha factory team after a long time. Now, as the race ended, Mir took the third podium position with a consistent and a brilliant race, as Marquez took a well deserved seventh place after the qualifying he had. With this race, the halfway point of the season was over, and we were happy to see the competitive season that we have had until now. The MVP of the first half of the season goes to Fabio Quartararo with top qualifying positions, 5 podium places, wins, dominating races, and a blistering lead in the championship. Quartararo has certainly dominated the first half of the season. Now, with a 5 week break coming up, we will bring you the next half of the season when it starts. With this, we end our coverage of the Sachsenring circuit. We congratulate riders such as Quartararo, Zarco, Miller, Oliveira, and Bagnaia for having an outstanding mid season, and we hope they continue this form in the next half of the season. We hope to see more competition from likes of Mir and Rins, and we want to see consistent lap times from the likes of Rossi and Morbidelli. Let's hope the second half of the season is as exciting as the first half of the season and we get brilliant close races as we saw in the first half of the 2021 season. Now, with this, we end our episode. Follow us, like, share, comment on our podcast, follow us on social media. Now, with this, we end our podcast. See you in the next episode. Till then, it's goodbye from us.